This is Tariq Amin, lecturer, Department of English Cast. Today, the topic of discussion is the use of modal auxiliaries, and this is the 12th lecture of the course Functional English. Let's move to the lecture outline of today's class. First of all, we will discuss what are modal auxiliary verbs. After that, we will discuss why they are called defective verbs because they are sometimes termed as defective verbs. After that, we will discuss the different uses of the different modal auxiliary verbs that are can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, ought to, used to, need, and dare. What are modal verbs? These are modal verbs can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, must, ought to, etc. They are used before ordinary verbs and express meanings such as permission, possibility, certainty, and necessity. Need and dare can sometimes be used like modal verbs, and they are often included in the group of auxiliaries. In some grammars, they are also called modal auxiliaries. Yes, sometimes they are termed as defective verbs. Now, why they are termed as defective verbs? They are termed as defective verbs because some parts are wanting in them. Some features or some characteristics are wanting in them. Some characteristics are lacking in them. The first one is they have no s in the third person singular. They have no s in the third person singular. Second one is they have no infinitive. And the third one is they have no ing forms. For example, we have an ordinary verb play. This ordinary verb play has got all these three features. For example, play has got is form in the third person singular. When we say that he plays cricket, so we put is with play. And play has also got infinitive form. For example, we say that he has to play cricket. I have to play cricket. So to play is the infinitive form of the ordinary verb play. And the third point is play has also got ing form. We say that I am playing cricket. They are playing football and they are playing hockey. So play has got all these three parts. It has got is in the third person singular, it has got infinitive form, and it has got ing forms. But these features or these parts are wanting in modal auxiliary verb. They don't have these parts, they don't have these characteristics, they don't have these features. That is why they are termed as defective verbs. Now let's discuss the different uses of can and may. Can usually expresses ability or capacity. How? Let's discuss the examples. I can swim across the river. Over here, can expresses the ability of the speaker that he can swim across the river. He has got the ability to swim across the river. The second sentence is, can you lift this box? Can you lift this box? Someone is asking someone that, can you lift this box? Do you have the ability to lift this box? So the use of can in these sentences expresses ability or capacity. Yes, can and may are used to express permission. They are used to express permission, but may is formal. Like, you can go now, you may go now. We can use both the modal auxiliary verbs in this sentence, but if we compare both this sentence, the use of both the modal auxiliary verb in this sentence, we can see that use of may is more formal as compared to the use of can. You may go now, you can go now. So you may go now is more formal uh, in comparison to you can go now. Can I borrow your umbrella, or may I borrow your umbrella? So both the sentences, both the example examples express permission, but the use of may is more formal as compared to the use of can. May is used to express possibility in affirmative sentences. Possibility in affirmative sentences. And can is used in the corresponding interrogative and negative sentences. How? Let's discuss the examples. It may rain tomorrow. Look at this sentence. Is it an affirmative sentence or it is an interrogative or negative sentence? Yes, it is an affirmative sentence and may expresses possibility in this affirmative sentence. Same is the case with second example. May expresses possibility in this affirmative sentence. So may is used to express possibility in affirmative sentences, whereas can is used in the corresponding negative and interrogative sentences. Let's discuss some examples. Can this be true? Now look at this sentence. Is it an affirmative sentence or it is a negative sentence? No, it is an interrogative sentence and can is used over here in this sentence. Look at the example number 4. This is negative sentence. It is not an interrogative sentence. It is not affirmative sentence, but this is a negative, and can is used in this sentence. In very formal English, may is used to express a wish. How? May you live happily and long. So this sentence expresses a wish. And may success attend you. Once again, this sentence also shows a wish. We use this may for wish in our daily life, like we say that may you live long, may you have many more, may success attend you, and many more such sort of sentences are used in our daily life, and may is used in such sort of sentence in order to show a wish, in order to express a wish. One another thing that can be noticed in these examples, that both of the examples ends with exclamation mark. Usually we put exclamation mark at the end of exclamatory sentences. Yes, could and might. Could and might are used as the past equivalents of can and may. For example, I could swim across the river when I was young. It shows ability. The second example is he said it I might go. This is I, not one. So this must be corrected. He said I might go. Over here the might and could shows permission, show permission, and in the first example could expresses ability. I thought he might be at home. Once again, might expresses possibility. She wondered whether it could be true. It could be true. So it also expresses possibility. In negative statements, however, either could or were able to may be used. For example, I couldn't solve the puzzle. It was too difficult. Instead of using couldn't, we can also use wasn't able to solve the puzzle. For example, we can say that I wasn't able to solve the puzzle because it was too difficult. In present time context, could and might are used as less positive versions of can and may. For example, I could attend the party. It is the less positive version and more hesitant than I can attend the party. Instead of saying that I could attend the party, one must say that I can attend the party, because I can attend the party is the positive version of I could attend the party. And I could attend the party is less positive and more hesitant than I can attend the party. So could and might are the less positive version of can and may. in the present time contexts. Might, could I borrow your bicycle? Just look at this example. Might I borrow your bicycle? Could I borrow your bicycle? We can see that it is a sort of less positive version. Instead of saying this, could I borrow your bicycle or might I borrow your bicycle, one can say that may I borrow your bicycle? Can I borrow your bicycle? It might rain tomorrow. So this is the less positive than it may rain tomorrow. Instead of saying it might rain tomorrow, you can say it may rain tomorrow. It is positive version. The it may rain tomorrow is the positive version of it might rain tomorrow. Could you pass me the salt? This shows polite request. Might is also used to express a degree of dissatisfaction or reproach. For example, you might pay a little more attention to your appearance. Over here in this example, might expresses a degree of dissatisfaction. It shows that the person or the speaker is not satisfied with the very appearance of the audience or very appearance of the receiver of his message. That is why he is saying that you might pay a little more attention to your appearance. For example, we can use such sort of sentences in our daily life too. For example, if you are a teacher and you take your students' paper, and in the feedback you tell them that your content was good, but you people might pay a little more attention to your grammar. It will show that you are satisfied with the very content of your students, but you are not satisfied with the grammar of your students. The use of may would show your degree of dissatisfaction, and it would show that you are not satisfied with the very grammar of the students. Let's discuss shall, should, will, would. Shall is used in the first person and will in all persons to express pure future. This should be noted that shall is used in the first person and will in all persons to express pure future. Express what? Express pure future. They express pure future. Today, I, we shall is less common than I will or we will. This is obvious that in today's world, most of the time people use I will or we will instead of I shall or we shall. Will, the use of will is more common than the use of shall. I shall be 25 next birthday. I will be 25 next birthday. So both of these modal auxiliary verbs express pure future. We will need the money on 15th. Once again, will is used in this example and it expresses pure future. When shall we see you again? Once again, it expresses pure future. Tomorrow will be Sunday. Once again, it expresses pure future. You will see that I am right. Once again, it shows and it expresses pure future. In these examples, we can notice that shall is used in the first person and will is used in all persons. And both shall and will express pure future. Now, shall is sometimes used in the second and third persons to express a command. When shall is used in the third person and the second and third person, it expresses a command, a promise, or a threat. For example, he shall not enter my house again. This sentence expresses command. The second sentence is you shall have a holiday tomorrow. It expresses promise. And you shall be punished for this. This shows threat. So when shall is used in the second person or shall is used in the third person, it expresses command, it expresses promise, and it expresses threat. So shall, it shows that shall can also be used in the second person. It can also be used in the third person. But when it is used in the second person and it is used in the third person, it would express a command, it would express a promise, or it would express a threat. Questions with shall I, shall we, or shall I are used to ask the will of the person addressed. In such sort of sentences, the will of the person addressed is asked. For example, shall I open the door? Shall I open the door? Do you want me to open it? The second example is which pen shall I buy? What is your advice? It shows that what is your advice? Where shall we go? What is your suggestion? Let's discuss some of the uses of the auxiliary verb will. Will is used to express volition. For example, I will carry your books. I will try to do better next time. I will succeed or die in the attempt. So, will is used to express volition. And will is also used to express characteristic habit. For example, he will talk about nothing but films. It shows the characteristic habit of a particular person that he always talk about film, nothing else. The second example is she will sit for hours listening to the wireless. It also shows the characteristic habit of a particular girl that she always sits for hours while listening to the wireless. She sits for hours listening to the wireless. It is the characteristic habit of the particular girl. So from these very examples, we can say that will is used to express volition, will is used to express characteristic habit. Now, will is also used to express assumption or probability. For example, this will be the book you want, I suppose. So it shows assumption or it shows probability. That will be the postman, I think. Okay, and these two examples, the use of will expresses assumption or probability. It shows that we can also use will in order to show or in order to express probability or assumption. Now, will you indicates what? It indicates invitation. It indicates a request. For example, will you have tea? Will you have tea? These such sort of sentences are used in our daily life. We use such sentences in our daily life. We say that will you have tea? Will you have a cup of tea? Will you have juice, etc. So it indicates invitation. And the second one is will you lend me your scooter? So in the second example, will you indicates a request. It shows that someone is requesting someone for his scooter or for her scooter. So will is used or will you is used to indicate invitation or a request. Now there are some other uses of will, shall, should, and would, etc. Shall and would are used as the past equivalents of shall and will. Like may and can, shall and will have also got past equivalents that are shall and would. He said shall, should and would are used as the past equivalents of shall and will, as he said he would be 25 next birthday. Second example is she said she would carry my books. She would sit for hours listening to the wireless. It shows the past habit. And the first example should shows or should indicates pure future. She would carry your books. It shows the volition. And in the third example would show the characteristic habit or the past characteristic habit of a particular person. So should and would are used as the past equivalents of shall and will. Now, should is used in all person to express duty or obligation. For example, we should obey the laws. You should keep your promise. Children should obey their parents. Now, in the previous slides, we discussed that shall is used in the first person and will is used in the all person to express pure future. But we also discussed that shall is also sometimes used in the second person and in the third person too. But over here, the past equivalent of shall, which is should, is used in all person to express duty or obligation. We should obey the laws. You should keep your promise. Children should obey their parents. So, in all these examples, the use of should expresses duty or it expresses obligation. So, should is used in all person. We can see that should is used in all person in these examples. We can also say that I should obey the laws, they should obey the laws, you should obey the laws, we should obey the laws. So, should is used in all persons. In clauses of condition, should is used to express a supposition that may not be true. Okay. In clauses of condition, should expresses a supposition, but it is not necessary that the supposition would be true. The supposition may not be true. For example, if it should rain, they will not come. So it expresses supposition. It expresses should express supposition, but this supposition may not be true. It may be wrong. If he should see me here, he will be annoyed. Once again, it expresses a supposition, but this supposition may not be true. Okay, you must know that what are clauses of condition. What are clauses of condition? This is clause of condition and this is also clause of condition. The first clauses are clauses of condition and the second one belong to some other categories. Must, ought to. Now let's move to the uses of must and ought to. Okay, must is used to express necessity or obligation. How? You must improve your spelling. It shows that it is highly necessary for you to improve your spelling if you want to have good grades. Okay, you must get up early. It also expresses obligation. It also expresses necessity, that it is necessary. It is obligatory for you to get up early in the morning. So must is used to express necessity or obligation. Okay, this point must be noted. The next point written in the red color. Must refers to the present or the near future. Must refers to the present or the near future. To talk about the past, we use had to, which is the past form of have to. Must has no past form. Must has no past form. Must refers to the present or to the near future. It doesn't have past form. In order to show past, we use had to, which is the past form of have to. For example, yesterday we had to get up early. Okay, in this sentence we talk about the past. That is why we have used had to. So from this very example, it is clear that must has no past form, and if you want to refer to the past, you should use had to with the past form of have to. You must not use must because it doesn't have any past form. Okay, must, ought to. Must is often used when the obligation comes from the speaker. When the obligation comes from somewhere else, have to is often used. Very important point. When the obligation comes from the speaker, must should be used, and when the obligation comes from somewhere else, have to is often used. The use of have to is preferred. For example, I must be on diet. Look at this example. I must be on diet. It is the idea of the speaker that he wants to be undied. It is not, this obligation doesn't come from anywhere else. It doesn't come from somewhere else, but it comes from the speaker himself. That he says that I must be undied. Look at the second example, I have to be undied. From this example, we can see that this is the obligation that comes from somewhere else. It doesn't come from the speaker. It comes from the doctor. Uh, the doctor told him to be undied. The doctor has told me to be undied. So, when the obligation comes from the speaker, must should be used, and when the obligation comes from somewhere else, it comes from your teacher, it comes from your parents, it comes from your friends, it comes from doctor, it comes from any other person, you should use have to. You shouldn't use must. Must should be used when the obligation comes from the speaker himself. Must can also express logical certainty. Living in such crowded conditions must be difficult. It is certain that living in such crowded conditions must be difficult. I am sure about it that it is difficult. So it expresses logical certainty. She must have left already. I am sure she has left already. Okay, so must shows I must expresses logical certainty. When it is certain that someone has left, you say that she must have left already. Okay, ought to expresses moral obligation or desirability. How? We ought to love our neighbors. It is obligatory for us to love our neighbors. We ought to help him. Okay, it is obligatory for us to help him. So it shows or it expresses moral obligation or desirability. You ought to know better. So ought to express moral obligation or desirability. Ought to can also be used to express probability. For example, prices ought to come down soon. It is probable that the prices may come down soon. This book ought to be very useful. Both of the sentences express probability. The first sentence expresses that it is probable that the prices may come down soon, and this book ought to be very useful. It is possible, it is probable that the book would be useful. Used to, need, and dare. Okay, the auxiliary used to expresses a discontinued habit. It expresses a habit, but a discontinued habit. Like, there used to be a house there. Okay. I used to live there when I was a boy. He says that it was shows that he used to live there, but now he doesn't live there. So used to express discontinued habit. We also use such sort of sentence in our daily life. We say that we used to play cricket, we used to go to the university, and we used to go to this very park when we were in our school. So used to is used to express, or used to is used to express a discontinued habit. Used to. The auxiliary need denoting necessity or obligation can be conjugated with or without do. When conjugated with do, without do, it has no s and ed forms. This must be noted that when conjugated without do, it has no s and it has no ed forms, and is used when with an infinitive without to only in negative and interrogative sentences, and sentences that contain semi-negative words like scarcely and hardly. For example, he need not go. It is not necessary for him to go. It means that it is not necessary for him to go. Need I write to him? I need hardly take this help. When conjugated with do, need has the usual form needs, needed, and is used with to infinitive. It is commonly used in negatives and questions. It sometimes occurs in affirmative also. Do you need to go now? I don't need to meet him. One needs to be careful. For example, compare I didn't need to buy it. It was not necessary for me to buy it, and I didn't buy it. Okay, look at the second example. I need not have bought it. It was not necessary for me to buy it, but I bought it. Understanding and learning the use of need is a bit difficult as compared to the use of other modal auxiliary verbs. That is why you are advised to practice it. It is a bit difficult, but it is not possible. It is not impossible. So you should practice it. You will learn it with practice. The auxiliary dare be brave enough to, as distinct from the ordinary verb dare, challenge, doesn't take is in the third person singular. It doesn't take S in the third person singular present tense. It is generally used in negative and interrogative sentences. Look at this. It is generally used in negative and interrogative sentences. When conjugated without do, it is followed by an infinitive without to. When conjugated with do, it takes an infinitive with or without to after it. So this point must be kept in mind. He dare not take such a step. We can see that it is not used over here with dare. How dare you contradict me? Look at this example too. He dare not do it. He doesn't dare speak to me. So these examples must be practiced in order to learn the use of need, the use of dare, and the use of used to. These are a bit difficult, but you will learn it with practice.